a man leads a cartel, he is considered ruthless, dangerous, and feared. But what happens when a woman takes the reins? She's just as formidable, if not more. Today, we're journeying into the world of female cartel bosses who run their empires with an iron fist. From drug trafficking to murder, these women are masterminds controlling vast networks. Here are the 8 most wanted female cartel bosses in the world, and their crimes will shock even the toughest among us. Angie Sanclemente Valencia. She is known as one of the most notorious female cartel bosses ever. Once a beauty queen crowned Colombia's coffee queen, Angie later became infamously referred to as the narco model. Angie's modeling career took off in the late 1990s after she won the Reina Nacional del Café beauty pageant in Colombia. With her stunning looks and captivating presence, she quickly caught the eye of top designers and photographers. Angie seemed to have it all, a successful career and a life of luxury. Growing up as a child just before she became an iconic model, Angie Sanclemente Valencia lived in Barranquilla, Colombia. She was part of a loving family and attended a local school where she was an ordinary student. From a young age, Angie had dreams of making it big in the world of fashion. She began entering local beauty pageants, and when she did become a model, it was as though she was on top of the world. However, 2 days later, after winning the Reina Nacional del Café beauty pageant, she was removed as the winner when the organizers discovered that she was married. Her husband was known as the Monster, a Mexican cartel boss, and it was through him that Angie had connections with the cartel. Beneath the surface of her seemingly innocent modeling life, Angie's story had a darker side. Despite her success in fashion, she became involved in drug trafficking, using her charm and industry connections as a cover. She divorced the Monster to form her own cartel, where she worked closely with her boyfriend, Nicholas Gualdron, who was a key figure in the drug cartel. She orchestrated the recruitment of young women, often models, to smuggle cocaine from Argentina to Europe. These women, dubbed mules, were given first-class tickets to transport the drugs. This brought her a lot of money, but as the saying goes, the wheels of justice turn slowly but surely, and it did turn in the case of Angie. Her criminal activities came to a halt when one of her recruits was caught at the Ezeiza International Airport in Buenos Aires. The young woman, found with a significant amount of cocaine in her luggage, led authorities to uncover the drug trafficking operation. As the investigation unfolded, Angie's name surfaced, linking her to the cartel's operations. A warrant was issued for her arrest, and she went on the run, trying to evade capture. Eventually, in May 2010, Angie was found hiding in a hotel in Buenos Aires and was arrested by the Argentine authorities. After her arrest, Angie faced trial and was sentenced to 6 years and 8 months in prison. Her fall from grace was a shocking end to what had once seemed like a fairy tale life. If Angie's life was a fairy tale life that turned into a jaw-dropping end, then what can you say of Melissa Calderon? Another cartel boss dubbed La China, Melissa Calderon has a look that's both striking and deceptive. With sharp features, a strong jawline, and eyes that could probably stare right through you, you might see her and think she's just another easygoing local, but she's not. Melissa is regarded as one of the most dangerous female cartel bosses in the world. But how did she get to being a ruthless cartel leader? On August 12, 1984, in La Paz, Baja California Sur, Mexico, Melissa Calderon was born into the family of Jose Calderon and Alma Guadalupe Angulo. She grew up in this city, and her childhood was typical, surrounded by family and friends. She attended local schools and blended in with her peers, living an ordinary life without any indication of the path she would later take. Melissa's life took a drastic turn in 2005 when she got involved with a member of the Damaso cartel and became a top assassin for them. This relationship pulled her into the world of organized crime, where she quickly rose through the ranks despite the male-dominated environment. The Damaso cartel was a branch of the Sinaloa cartel. Melissa's tenure ended abruptly when she was ousted by the cartel leader El Grande, who also murdered her first boyfriend, Eric Davalos von Borstel. In retaliation, she assumed leadership of Las Fuerzas, alongside her second boyfriend, Hector Pedro Camarena Gomez, also known as El Chino. Together, they waged an internal war against El Grande, trying to regain control and assert their dominance. Again, Melissa wouldn't rule for long. She was arrested on September 19, 2015, at Los Cabos Airport after her boyfriend and second-in-command, Hector Pedro Camarena Gomez, known as El Chino, provided authorities with enough information about her activities. He led them to a mass grave of her victims and shared details about corrupt police officers on her payroll. Following her arrest, she was sentenced to 20 years in prison, marking the end of her reign of terror in Baja California Sur. Clara Elena La Señora Labarin. Clara Elena Laboran, known for her stunning and sexy looks, has always been a fashion icon in the cartel world. Clara, born on February 19, 1964 in Agua Prieta, Sonora, Mexico, began her fashion life as a model in her early 20s. She started in local beauty pageants in Mexico, where her natural beauty and poise helped her stand out. Her success in these pageants opened doors to modeling opportunities with prominent fashion designers and brands, and she soon signed major deals. During her modeling career, Clara won several awards that highlighted her as a rising star in the industry. She received the title of Miss Sonora in a prestigious state-level beauty contest, which significantly boosted her profile. Clara also won the Best New Model award at the Mexican Fashion Awards, recognizing her exceptional talent and potential. Additionally, she was awarded Model of the Year by a prominent fashion magazine, cementing her status as a top model in the Mexican fashion scene. Then the shocker came when she was arrested on November 7, 2016. People wondered why she was arrested, and that was when they began to hear details of her cartel activities. It turned out that she was closely linked with the Beltran Leyva cartel, a powerful and ruthless criminal organization in Mexico. Clara, also known as La Señora, worked alongside her husband Hector Beltran Leyva, one of the cartel's top leaders and El Chapo's former partner. According to the Mexican Attorney General's office, as of March 2021, women make up as much as 8% of the members within the cartel. Shortly after the arrest of her husband Hector in 2010, Clara became the leader of the cartel. She played a key role in managing drug trafficking operations, coordinating shipments, and handling large sums of money. Clara oversaw hitmen and orchestrated kidnappings and assassinations to eliminate rivals. Her arrest in 2016 revealed the extent of her influence and her important role in one of Mexico's most notorious drug cartels. Well, if you think that only Mexican women are capable of being cartel bosses, then this next woman will change your mind. Jemiker Thompson. Jemiker Thompson's childhood was tough and full of defining moments. At just 8 years old, she and her mom were evicted from their apartment in South Central Los Angeles. This eviction hit young Jemiker hard, making her vow to never feel powerless again. She decided then that she wanted money and control over her life. When Jemiker was a teenager, she moved to Mississippi to live with her grandmother, but came back to Los Angeles at 14. She began to run tracks and had a great future ahead of her.
I was just a young girl running track. I'm in the LA Times, I'm in the school paper every week.
Soon after, she met Anthony Daff Mosley, a small-time pot dealer. Jemiker started working with him, collecting payments and learning the ropes of the drug trade. Their partnership turned romantic, and they began expanding into selling cocaine. By high school, Jemiker was heavily involved in the drug business, driven by her early experiences of hardship and her desire for a better life. Jemiker Thompson, called the Queen Pin, built a drug empire in Los Angeles during the 1980s crack epidemic. Partnering with her boyfriend, she began distributing large quantities of crack cocaine across multiple cities. She even sourced cocaine directly from producers in Colombia, solidifying her status as a major player in the drug world. Jemiker's business wasn't just about drugs. She also ran a hair distribution company, which authorities suspected was used to launder drug money. Her ruthless approach included eliminating rivals and securing her territory with violence. Her partner Mosley was eventually murdered, but Jemiker continued to expand her empire, uniting with other notorious figures like Percy Cheese Bratton. Her reign came to an end when Bratton was arrested. Bratton cooperated with authorities, leading to Jemiker's capture at her son's graduation in 1993. After Jemiker Thompson's arrest, she was sentenced to 15 years in prison for drug trafficking and money laundering. She spent over a decade behind bars. During her incarceration, Jemiker underwent a significant transformation. She found faith and became a devout Christian. Upon her release in 2005, Jemiker started Second Chance Evangelical Ministries, aiming to help others avoid the path she once took. Her story of redemption and change has been featured in documentaries and interviews, and Jemiker now shares her experiences to inspire and guide others. So maybe some drug dealers get to have a chance at redemption. Griselda Blanco. In Miami, the police were constantly disturbed by the rampant drug activities in Miami, particularly in areas like Dataland Mall, but they had no clue that the mastermind behind it was Griselda Blanco. Known as the Black Widow and the Godmother, Griselda blended in seamlessly with her surroundings, maintaining an image of an innocent woman. It wasn't until much later that they realized this seemingly innocent woman was the driving force behind one of the most profitable and ruthless drug empires ever seen in Miami, like that of the Medellin Cartel. Griselda Blanco Restrepo Restrepo was born on February 15, 1943 in Colombia. There is some debate about her exact birthplace, with many sources citing Cartagena, while others report it was Santa Marta. Her mother, who was reportedly an alcoholic and sex worker, moved to Medellin when Griselda was around 3 years old. It is believed that during her early years, Griselda may have been abused by her mother's clients. From a young age, Blanco turned to a life of crime. At just 11 years old, she allegedly helped kidnap a 10-year-old boy from a wealthy family in the Medellin area. When the family refused to pay the ransom, Blanco reportedly shot the abducted child herself. In addition to this, she became involved in pickpocketing and sex work. Griselda Blanco was married 3 times and had 4 sons. Her first husband, Carlos Trujillo, a forger, fathered her 3 sons, Dixon, Uber, and Osvaldo. Though they divorced in the late 1960s, Blanco is suspected of ordering Trujillo's death in the early 1970s. Blanco's second husband, Albert Bravo, was a drug trafficker who introduced her to the drug trade. She initially started by trafficking marijuana, but soon transitioned to cocaine due to it being easy to transport. To smuggle the drug into the United States, Blanco employed female couriers who wore specially designed bras and girdles with hidden pockets to secretly carry the cocaine. After working together as drug traffickers, she killed her second husband in a 1975 shootout in Bogota, Colombia, earning her the nickname Black Widow. With her third husband, Dario Sepulveda, she had a son named Michael Corleone, after a character from The Godfather. Sepulveda was killed in 1983 in Medellin by men posing as police officers, and Blanco was suspected of ordering his death. Her 3 eldest sons followed her into drug trafficking, were imprisoned, and later returned to Colombia, where Uber and Osvaldo were killed. Her reign ended in a flash of violence on September 3, 2012, when at the age of 69, the infamous Black Widow met her end in Medellin, Colombia. A gunman on a motorbike shot Griselda Blanco as she exited a butcher shop, echoing the drive-by murder method she had used to dominate the Miami drug trade. Reports suggest she was responsible for at least 40 murders, with some estimates going as high as 250. Blanco was laid to rest in Jardines Montesacro Cemetery, the same burial place as her notorious rival, Pablo Escobar. Sandra Avila Beltran. Sandra Avila Beltran, known for her captivating beauty, was involved with some of the most infamous men in the drug trade. Who would seriously resist a stunning beauty like her? But if looks can get people killed, then it makes sense that Sandra's life was marked by the death of partners she fell in love with. She was romantically linked to Javier Caro at age 18, who was later murdered, and Juan Diego Espinoza Ramirez, alias El Tigre, a high-ranking member of the Norte del Valle Cartel. Sandra was also married twice. Her first husband was a former police officer who later became a drug trafficker, and her second husband was Rodolfo Lopez Amavisca, who was killed in a shootout. Her charm and connections with these powerful figures helped her navigate the perilous world of drug cartels and earned her the nickname Queen of the Pacific. Unlike the rest of the cartel bosses, Sandra was born into narco royalty. She lived a life of luxury as a child with private tuition, piano and dance lessons, and frequent trips to SeaWorld and Disneyland. Her father was related to the founder of the Guadalajara cartel. At 13, she witnessed her first shootout, a common occurrence in her world where people openly carried guns. Though her friends became leaders of the Sinaloa cartel, Sandra initially pursued journalism at the Universidad Autónoma de Guadalajara. However, after a jealous boyfriend tied to the cartels kidnapped her, she abandoned her studies and entered the drug underworld, where her skills in driving, horseback riding, sharpshooting, and flirting became invaluable. Sandra Avila Beltran was determined to become the queen of cocaine, and within a decade, she achieved her goal. She became close with El Chapo Guzman, commanded a fleet of 30 cars, and won shooting competitions with Rafael Caro Quintero's head bodyguard. For her son's 15th birthday, she gifted him a Hummer and later provided him with a $40,000 allowance every few months. She wore a gold pendant shaped like Tutankhamun, adorned with 83 rubies, 228 diamonds, and 189 sapphires. Her party life, reminiscent of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, was marked by the frequent deaths of her associates. In 2002, Sandra Avila Beltran's luck ran out. Her son was kidnapped, and after she paid the $5 million ransom, the police increased their scrutiny, placing her on the most wanted list. She went into hiding and lived as a fugitive for years. For the next 3 years, Sandra Avila Beltran continued her life on the run, during which she met her new love, Juan Diego Espinoza, a Colombian cocaine dealer who later claimed he was moving 10 tons of cocaine monthly from Colombia to the U.S. via Mexico. Both were arrested on September 27, 2007, and this time Avila did did not attempt to flee. Their capture marked the end of her fugitive years. Following her release from prison in 2015, Sandra sued Netflix and Telemundo, claiming the TV series La Reina del Sur and its U.S. counterpart, Queen of the South, were based on her life without her consent. She demanded 40% of the royalties, alleging that these companies used her story for profit without proper authorization. Despite her claims, both Netflix and Telemundo defended their actions, stating the character was fictional and not an invasion of her privacy. And like Sandra, this next cartel boss was equally born into a family of drug traffickers. She is Enedina Arellano Felix. Enedina Arellano Felix was born on April 12, 1961, in Mazatlan, Sinaloa, and she is often called La Jefa, La Madrina, and La Narcomami. In 1977, at the age of 16, she dreamed of becoming the Mazatlan Carnival Queen but had to abandon this aspiration when her brothers, Ramon and Benjamin, became targets of both the United States and Mexican governments. At the time, her older brothers were employed by Miguel Angel Felix Gallardo, a powerful drug lord. Gallardo eventually entrusted them with control over the Tijuana drug corridor in Baja California. This period marked a significant shift in Enedina's life, steering her towards the family business of drug trafficking. Enedina Arellano Felix pursued higher education at a private university in Guadalajara, Jalisco, where she earned a bachelor's degree in accounting. By the mid-1980s, she was already involved in the family's drug trafficking operations, although she was not recognized by authorities as a prominent figure in the Tijuana cartel. However, after the arrest of Jesus Labra Aviles, also known as El Chuy, in 2000, Enedina took on a more direct role in managing the cartel's money laundering activities. Enedina Arellano Felix has numerous family members deeply involved in the drug trade. Her nephew, Luis Fernando Sanchez Arellano, was captured in 2014, and her husband, Luis Raul Toledo Carejo, was accused by the United States Department of Treasury in 2005 of having links with the Tijuana cartel. Additionally, her sister Alicia Arellano Felix is currently a leader within the Tijuana cartel. Enedina Arellano Felix is recognized by the Drug Enforcement Administration, DEA, and Mexican media as one of the few women, alongside Sandra Avila Beltran in Mexico and Griselda Blanco in Colombia, to lead a criminal organization. She has helped contribute a more business-like vision to the Tijuana cartel, steering away from the old violent practices of her brothers, who previously led the cartel before their arrests or deaths. Enedina Arellano Felix remains a free woman, continuing her reign over the Tijuana cartel. Unlike her infamous brothers, she has avoided capture, maintaining a lower profile. Will she continue to evade arrest, or will the law catch up with her one day? And now, for the last person on the list, we move into the story of the beautiful Juliana Sosa Toro. In a lineup by Mexican police, she was barely noticeable, seemingly lost amidst the commotion of a news conference about the arrests connected to last year's shooting of soccer star Salvador Cabanas. The teary-eyed woman in an oversized dark coat, however, was far from inconspicuous before she, her alleged drug cartel boyfriend, and 5 other suspects became suspects in the notorious Mexico City shooting. Before this dramatic turn of events, she had managed to stay under the radar, but the investigation into the shooting brought her unexpected notoriety. Juliana Sosa Toro was a striking Colombian model who gained fame through her success in Mexican modeling competitions. But before that, she was a normal girl who lived a normal life. She was born on May 7, 1985 in Medellin, Colombia, and studied communications at the Corporación Universitaria Remington before participating in the Miss Antioquia 2008 competition. Juliana Sosa Toro entered the cartel life through her romantic involvement with Jose Jorge Balderas Garza, also known as LJJ, a notorious Mexican drug trafficker. Sosa Toro, a successful model and beauty queen, met Balderas shortly after moving to Mexico to advance her modeling career. Their relationship quickly became serious, and she found herself deeply involved in his criminal activities. Balderas, who was a key figure in the organization led by Edgar Valdez Villarreal, La Barbie, was responsible for distributing cocaine in the state of Mexico. Juliana's downfall came after a slip-up on social media, where she revealed enough information for authorities to track her and Balderas down. They were both arrested in January 2011 in Mexico City, bringing an end to her life on the run and her association with the cartel. After her arrest in 2011, Juliana Sosa Toro was released and chose not to fight her deportation from Mexico. She returned to Colombia and has since remained out of the public eye. A Mexican judge determined there wasn't enough evidence to convict her of the charges linked to organized crime and her association with the Beltran Leyva cartel. Now residing in Colombia media, Juliana has kept a low profile, distancing herself from the notoriety that came with her relationship with Jose Jorge Balderas Garza, known as LJJ. If you found this world of female cartel bosses fascinating, click on any of the cards on your screen to check out more jaw-dropping stories.